Okay, y'all, it's finally here. The famous mac and cheese video. Thank you for coming. If you have any questions, comment down below, DM me, or just shut the fuck up. But we're gonna start by boiling the water, and you don't add your salt until the water's boiling because the water will evaporate and you'll end up with just fucking straight up salt water. Stir it, and then we're gonna add some olive oil. And I'm using large elbow large elbow macaroni, and I'm just gonna boil that until it's al dente. I don't really overcook or undercook the mac and cheese because I'm not baking it, but you can do what you want. You can always add more cheese and bake it, but this one isn't gonna be baked, so just gonna do that. And now for the fun part, I'm gonna add some heavy cream. I don't know how much because I do not measure. I keep telling y'all that. Whole milk going in, and then my favorite, mustard powder. This really like makes the sharp cheddar like pop. It adds so much flavor. I love it. And add in black pepper. This is onion powder, but it's in the bay leaf container. Repurpose your shit, don't throw anything away. I'm gonna add that in there, and then add in garlic powder. And just a little bit of salt because the pasta will already be salty. Always make sure to taste your pasta water after you salt it as well. It should taste like the ocean. So we're gonna whisk this up, let it come to a simmer, and start adding in the cheese. I use sharp cheddar and Monterey Jack cheese. You can use whatever cheese you feel is necessary, but I don't think it makes much of a difference. I don't like a lot of different cheese in my mac and cheese because some of them are really grainy and just nasty. So I just use the simple stuff. So I keep adding my cheese gradually, let it melt while whisking. And I froze my cheese. That's why it looks like crumbs. I don't know why the fuck my cheese came out of the freezer like that, but I tried to shred it and it just crumbled in my hand. So it's still fine. It still tasted good. It still melted properly. So if you don't want to use your cheese or lose it, just freeze it and then you have cheese crumbs. So we're whisking, making this cheese sauce. And my stove is on medium to low heat. You don't really need too much heat. Just make sure you get a good melt on the cheese. And I also did not use any butter. I find that when you use butter in your mac and cheese and you reheat it, the oils will seep out and it's fucking nasty. So I don't use any extra oil or butter. And I burnt my fingers on my pan, so I'm using a pot holder and the pan keeps sliding, so there's that. So we're whisking. And if you want a really thick cheese sauce, instead of adding your cheese after, you can do that, but I rather have a base sauce and then add my cheese. That's how you get the nice stretchy melted cheese. Adding more cheese. And this is still on medium or low heat. And it's almost time to add the noodles. Just make sure all of the cheese is melted before you add the noodles. Don't want any like hidden clumps or anything in there. And I didn't speed this up because a lot of people have questions and need to see the whole process, but it's very, very easy once you actually learn how to make it. It took me a long time to perfect my mac and cheese, but here we are. So I'm adding the noodles. They were fucking hot, so I just dumped them in there. And here's the fun part. Let's get to stirring this mac and cheese up. Just make sure everything's coated before you start adding more cheese. That way the sauce is evenly distributed throughout the noodles, like all on the inside, all that good mushy stuff. And then you would just start adding your cheese crumbs, your shredded cheese. Some people stop here and don't add any more cheese, like that easy mac bullshit. But we want real mac and cheese. That's the point. And also for measurement purposes, I guess, I used half a block of sharp cheddar and half a block of Monterey Jack cheese, the really big ones. And for the elbow macaroni, I used, I want to say 2/3 of a large bag. And I'm going to turn the sound on for this part because why not?
Fuck yeah.
All right, if you're still here, still watching, and you actually care about oxtail, I'm making green seasoning from Terry Ann's Kitchen using green onion, bell pepper, red bell pepper. You can use Fresno chili, which is actually in the recipe, but my market didn't have any. Fresh parsley, garlic, and onion, and little habanero pepper. Blend it, all that good stuff. It smells so good. It's ridiculous. Now it's time to season the oxtail. I have a combo seasoning, which is delicious by itself. Probably use it on everything now. Paprika, always good. Cayenne pepper, because why the fuck not? Just add it to everything you cook and you will have no fucking issues ever. Garlic powder. Ground coriander. Amazing. Couldn't find the full coriander seed, but still the same thing. More pepper. I love pepper. This is a lot of pepper. Like a lot of pepper. And salt. Not too much salt. Like, once again, I don't measure, so when it comes to meat, I usually like overdo it a little bit, even though later in the video I'll be adding some liquid aminos. You really have to season and add water as you're cooking oxtails. Taste, add water, season, taste. Okay, so all green seasoning, you can jar that up and add it later. Make sure you strap up when you season your meat. So we're gonna toss this, and it smells so delicious. This smells so fucking good. I had to reiterate because it really smells really, really good. Okay, I'm taking these gloves off because I forgot to add my browning sauce, and this is literally just sugar and salt, molasses basically for the color. And that's how I got that beautiful dark color. The recipe I used was from Terry Ann's Kitchen, but she fries her sugar in the oil to get it brown, and the brown seasoning is just a shortcut. So I'm gonna start adding these to the pot. I'm using my Great Jones Dutch oven. She's beautiful, she's pink, she's everything. And I didn't have enough room because the oxtails were so big, so I browned a little and then added more as they were cooking. Adding more, the rest of the marinade from the bowl. And then I'm gonna add some beef stock and some water, and then I'll be adding pimento and star anise, just one piece. I didn't want to have too much, but yeah, that's it. And then gonna bring it to a boil and let it simmer and add more liquid, season, taste, add more liquid, and cover. I think I cooked these for about 3 hours, maybe 3.5. And I'm adding a cornstarch slurry to thicken up the gravy a little bit. So the cornstarch slurry was just a little bit of water, some juice from the oxtail, and a tablespoon of cornstarch. Sweet mini pepper going in there for a little bit of color. And that's the oxtail. Now for the cabbage, fried cabbage with olive oil, a little bit of butter. Olive oil keeps the butter from burning when you're cooking, so use that. It works. I'm adding some white onion. Actually, no, it's a yellow onion. Just gonna fry it up until it's translucent, and then start adding in the cabbage. So adding in the cabbage. Give it a nice stir to get it coated in the butter and oil. So we start cooking down, and like fried cabbage is like really underrated. So I'll season with pepper, K LeBlanc's curry madura, garlic powder, onion powder, and salt. It's really that simple. And that's pretty much it. Just cover and let it cook down. You really don't need to add much water, but I added a little bit of chicken broth instead of straight up water, so the seasoning would still be flavorful. I let it cook for about 20 minutes. I like a really soft cabbage. But here we are, finished product, oxtail mac and cheese and cabbage. It's so delicious, and voila.